We have huge news from the Toronto Maple Leafs organization. They have fired head coach Mike Babcock. We'll discuss the situation and his replacement coming up next. So welcome back here to Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some huge breaking news from Toronto. The Maple Leafs have fired Mike Babcock as head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, there's been all kinds of talk and chatter. We've discussed the possibility of this happening a few times here recently. Many NHL insiders felt that ideally the Leafs wanted to give him more time, at least give him the full season to see what he could do, and that he might get a little bit more rope given the fact that they've had a lot of injuries. But given the last 6-game losing skid, they started off the road trip in Vegas with a loss last night. They get a few more games to go before they come home, and apparently their patience have run thin, and he is no longer the head coach. American Hockey League coach Sheldon Keefe, which should not come as a huge surprise to many who follow this team, will be the next head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, for those of you who don't know, which I know a lot of you probably do, especially those who follow the Leafs, Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas have had a very long history of working together. It dates back to their time in the OHL and junior, and in the American Hockey League with this organization for a number of years now. Basically, Kyle Dubas has groomed him to be a head coach in the NHL for an extended period of time. They see eye to eye on a lot of things, and I can see them getting along and having a way better relationship than Dubas and Babcock had. Now, clearly, I know in publicly at least, Kyle Dubas and Mike Babcock have both indicated that they had a great relationship and everything was good, but it's not hard to see that there was a lot of philosophical differences in how this team was going to be done. Dubas would acquire players, and Babcock would not use them to the way there should be. Like, for example, Tyson Barrie. You can go on about Jason Spezza. There's been all kinds of acquisitions that have been made and moves to change the roster, but Babcock in his stubborn ways had his set way he wanted to do things and really would kind of go against the grain here, and ultimately this cost him his job. The players seem to be tuned out a little bit lately. There's been a lot of frustrations at a players-only meeting recently. Something had to give. I know NHL insiders, even as recently as the last couple days, felt Babcock would be given more time, that the more likely scenario was a trade possibly taking place to shake things up with the Leafs, but clearly, that's not the case. I mean, the other thing with Babcock as well, even though he's got a few years left on his contract, apparently that was a very front-loaded deal. So a big chunk of his money has been paid out already. But obviously, MLSE has very deep pockets. I don't think the remaining funds on Babcock's contract is really going to be, a huge concern to them. Although something like that would have to likely be approved by Brendan Shanahan and the board as well, considering the magnitude of the transaction here. So Mike Babcock is out as head coach of the Maple Leafs. Sheldon Keefe comes in. I'd love to hear everybody's original reaction here to this move by the Leafs. Is this the right thing to do? Will Sheldon Keefe get this team turned around? Will he be the one who can take them to really realize their full potential here and go on a deeper playoff run and make them the Stanley Cup contender that Kyle Dubas at least has believed that he's built this roster to be able to achieve? Love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below, and we can discuss further. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notifications so you don't miss any future content, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.